Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us, smoke it if you've got it. And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Bo Maddox.
And this is Collateral Gaming and
Collateral Cinema.
March 18th, somewhere in South Texas, Collateral Media Studios. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, as presided by Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are recording straight from somewhere in South Texas, as mentioned. And yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it, my friends.
Salary cutting noises. That's right, gum fuck. Yeah, you get what you deserve. All cops are bastards.
All cops are bastards, especially Mike Meekins.
Especially Meekins and especially Gumfuck.
Especially Gumfuck. All right. Yes, we do have Collateral Cinema joining us for this episode, as this is technically the second part of a collab on the Ace Attorney franchise. I mean, we did Takashi Miike's Ace Attorney movie on Collateral Cinema, right, Bo?
Yeah, and that was interesting then, and I hadn't really gone through the game properly. You know, I've kind of seen like bits and pieces of it, but now that I've really seen the game in action and compared it to the movie, it's like, wow, it's like that's like one of the first movies to really adapt its source material's gameplay, like almost like note for note.
No kidding, dude. So anyway, we are here to talk about the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy this month. This part one, we're actually going to focus on the first game of the franchise, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, known in Japan as Gyakuten Saiban, or Turnabout Trial. So, but before we get into that, of course, before we go over the facts of the case, we are going to talk a little bit about the news, because, I mean, first of all, it's been a while since we've actually had a proper numbered episode on Collateral Gaming. The past couple months, it's just been a struggle getting everybody together and, just lives being busy and shit. But glad to be back with another regular episode. And so, just going to kind of cover everything that's gone on since January.
Indeed. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff that's gone on since the beginning of the year in the world of gaming, right?
Yeah. So, first of all, this actually just happened yesterday, but rest in peace, Mr. Lance Reddick.
Yeah, it was all over Twitter. When I was at work, I saw it, and it's like, oh man, he was in John Wick. He was in The Wire. I mean, he was a character actor in some very important movies and TV shows. It's like, man, he was only 60. It's like just out of nowhere. Damn.
Exactly, man. It's really sad. It just came out of nowhere, sudden. Apparently natural causes, but
yeah. And I mean, he's one of those actors that you've seen him somewhere in some popular franchise or some movie along the way,
He's notable to the gaming industry because of not only his work in the recent Resident Evil Netflix adaptation, for better or for worse, right?
Yeah.
I would like to believe he's probably the best part of that, but I haven't watched it yet. and as well as his work as Sylens in Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West, both games we've done on the podcast. And man, he was just phenomenal doing the voice and motion capture performance in those games. I mean, man, my heart aches. And like, I'm kind of wondering, what they're going to do about his continued role in the next game,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with his roles in those games. By the way, I haven't really played them, but
that's assuming he survives the events of Horizon Forbidden West. I never beat it, so.
Oh, I got you. I got you. I
don't know, but yeah, I mean,
but yeah, it's a phenomenal loss for the world of television, the world of film, the world of gaming.
I know.
I mean, yeah, he's just somebody that has just been a stalwart of all those particular communities, and yeah, it's very, very sudden and very, very tragic.
Exactly. Yeah, 100% agree. So yeah, I mean, our hearts go out to his family and whatnot. I mean, that fucking sucks. He was only 60, man. That's
very young, scarily young, like really.
No shit, bro. Well, in better news, we did get a Nintendo Direct during this gap of time, and we did actually cover Metroid Prime Remastered as a game launch review last month, but I really wanted to actually kind of go over some of the stuff that happened at the Nintendo Direct, because I think it was like the best news I've heard. I mean, I think all three of the gaming companies, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, are not showing up at E3. So like when the Nintendo Direct, all the attention was on that. So we did get, in addition to a shadow drop of Metroid Prime Remastered, which is fantastic. Check out our episode on that. We also got a new Tears of the Kingdom trailer, and obviously more hyped than ever to play that fucking game. I cannot wait for it to come out in May. I know already it's going to be my game of the year.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, new Zelda is always an event, Seriously. I mean, I'm not even that much of a Zelda fan, and even I understand, the hype behind it, because I mean, they do at least try to expand the gameplay in every iteration. So
yeah, and even though this one is definitely going to be very similar to Breath of the Wild, I think it's going to add a lot to the table, in a lot of the same ways that maybe like Majora's Mask did for Ocarina. But that's a discussion for another time. We also did get a release on the on Nintendo Switch Online. We have a catalog of Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games now being emulated on the Switch, not least of which included Metroid Fusion. So it's a great time for Metroid fans all around.
I mean, I don't know. I tend to sail the 7 seas when it comes to playing these types of games, so that's how I tend to play them. But yeah, if you want to get them on Switch, whatever.
I mean, yeah, I have Nintendo Switch Online. I think it's worth it. It's great. I mean, I pay not a whole lot for it. I think I did the annual one, and yeah, it's not that bad.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand if you're going to have a Nintendo Switch. I mean, you may as well pay for the service and everything.
Well,
and
that's where all like the virtual console
where all
titles
the consoles are.
To,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Again, I think it kind of helps that I did get the Switch Online and the expansion pack subscriptions when I did, because it's kind of helping justify that purchase for me as Nintendo's releasing more games on more consoles. Awesome, good news there. I think they had a DLC for Fire Emblem Engage, and introducing Hector from Fire Emblem: The Blazing Blade. I think that was the one that was the best news to me, was coming to Engage as an emblem.
Nice, that's awesome. Hell
Go check out our episode on Fire Emblem Engage with Andrew Orozco from Geek News Now. That was a fun episode as well.
I have yet to listen to it, but yeah, I mean, y'all talked about COD, right? The new COD game.
The most recent
one?
episode was on COD, and that was with the Jacked Up Review Show podcast.
Okay, so what was this one that you're talking about?
Honestly, I'm so high I just forgot. What the fuck we were talking
I'm
about.
high, and that's why I'm asking. So.
Objection!
Hold it.
Alrighty. Anything else noteworthy in the gaming in the world of gaming? As you've seen, Bo, I mean, I don't know. you're not as much in the sphere as I am, but I know you're on Twitter, so.
I mean, not entirely. I mean, I do tweet some gaming content here or there, you know, but it's usually about, you know, the latest release of something that's out on Switch, or, you know, maybe an ad for like God of War Ragnarok if I see it, you know. But I mean, for me in the world of gaming, I just updated my RetroArch recently, so I've been having fun with that.
Nice.
And also playing N64 games on that. So, hey, yeah, that's what I've been doing gaming wise. And also, I guess I have a PS4 now.
Yeah, I'm selling you my PS4 because I got a PS5, so there's a little bit of personal news for you guys.
You got the PS5, bro.
I got the PS5. I'm so fucking stoked, man. It's
shit, bro.
fucking awesome. I was playing Modern Warfare 2 on it in preparation for that bonus round episode we just did with Cam from Jacked Up Review Show. No, that was a great time. I'm loving the PS5 so far. Huge difference. If you have the opportunity to get one, get one. That's all I'm going to say. It's fucking amazing. Yeah, so that's it for personal news. I did pre-order Resident Evil 4 Remake, by the way, and there is a demo out, the Chainsaw demo, which features the whole like village segment, which is a pretty fairly accurate recreation of the village segment from Resident Evil 4 original from what I played.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really, really, really need to play it.
But that first area is actually like expanded a lot. I played through the demo. It's fun, and I've been seeing that Resident Evil 4 is getting from critics 10 out of 10s, 9.5 out of 10s, like perfect scores or near perfect scores. So I'm really, really hyped now. We are doing a Game Lunch episode on that. So
awesome. I mean, yeah, modern Resident Evil has really been knocking it out of the park for the most part recently. I mean, I don't know about the Resident Evil 3 remake, but
yeah.
Pretty much from 7 on to this current remake. I mean, they've really been on their game.
Seriously,
like seriously. I mean,
Capcom.
I was impressed with the Resident Evil 2 remake. It was a lot of fun to play.
Capcom is on their game, and that does not exclude the Ace Attorney franchise, because the series is still going strong. We've been getting TV or anime adaptations, stage shows, a live action movie which we covered, and I think at some point soon we should be getting a new like mainline Ace Attorney game. Ace Attorney 7 would be great, but I mean, even then, the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles came out not that long ago, so this is another franchise that Capcom has definitely been pouring love into, even though it's not their flagship. And yeah, that's why I'm really excited to talk about the Ace Attorney trilogy, because I've been so excited to get into this series for a while now on the podcast, ever since I started playing it last year.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you've played through this like several times on iOS, right?
I did, and I played the bad port of the bad iOS port.
Shit, the shitty one, huh?
The shitty one, and I still fell in love with the franchise. I got addicted right away, and that started with Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the first game. And while we will be talking about the trilogy as a whole, specifically this episode, part 1, we're going to be focusing on that one. And yeah, let me tell you, this really hooked me in right away.
Same here, man. I mean, I never really gave this series a chance because, I mean, truth be told, I've never been much of a portable gamer, you know? So, I mean, I was only like really just kind of somewhat familiar with Phoenix Wright and what it was. And I was like, oh, it's like a lawyer simulator. But I mean, actually watching a playthrough of this game and coming to understand the actual mechanics of it and everything, it's like, I mean, it was originally pitched as a detective sim.
Yeah.
So they just kind of put the legal aspect to it to just kind of add some tension and some also have players kind of, use your deductive reasoning skills to find the contradictions and everything. And
yes.
Yeah, I mean, that really, really, really just kind of brought me into this. And just, yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun just going through all the trial segments and just picking through testimony and everything and cross-examining. I mean, that was exciting.
I know. That's exactly my experience with this, bro, because this is one of those series that, like, I was gaming during the Nintendo DS era. Like, I had a DS. this series was something that I always saw like mentioned. It just never, really jumped out at me. And like you, I'm really into like the murder mystery type stuff, so I'm kind of surprised I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, if this would have come out in my time when I was a little bit younger, I would have been hooked on this because, I mean, there was a game that came out on Super Nintendo that reminds me a lot of this. You had to have some geography knowledge. It was where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Or where on earth is Carmen Sandiego? And, I mean, it had some similar, like, detective sequences, but, it was, like, edutainment. It was geography-based and everything. But here, I mean, it kind of has that similar feel to it.
Yes.
Just more story-based and whatnot. And, it has that visual novel presentation and everything. But, yeah, if this would have came out when I was maybe a little bit younger, like, this would have been totally my jam because I'm the type of person, like, I've read quite a bit of, like, the Sherlock Holmes canon. I liked Hardy Boys back in the day, Nancy Drew, and, Ellery Queen and Alfred Hitchcock magazines and whatnot. Mysteries was totally my thing. And, I mean, to finally see something that's an actual mystery sim like this, I mean, this is really awesome.
Right? Okay, so it's kind of a visual novel adventure. I mean, that's actually what Wikipedia has it on. It's really more like a point-and-click adventure, really.
That's the other thing is that, I'm very familiar with point-and-click adventures, having grown up in the 90s, Like, I mean, that was kind of the heyday of that type of gaming.
Yeah.
And, I mean, yeah, this has a lot of those elements, more so that I would call this more or less a point-and-click adventure. I mean, the visual novel elements are really only with just the conversations between the characters. Everything else is very much kind of point-and-click style gameplay.
Right. So Ace Attorney shifts between like investigation and courtroom segments, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the gameplay here in a bit, but just wanted to kind of go over some of the facts of the case here. Ace Attorney, see, I'm gonna throw in the theme here in the background.
I got you.
Reminder of myself to do that. But it was developed and published by Capcom in 2001, originally for the Game Boy Advance. Now, that was a Japan exclusive release. So years later, in 2005, we finally got it on the DS internationally, and that was actually after the other two games in the trilogy had came out.
Now, interestingly enough, the thing about the Game Boy Advance is that it never had any backlight to it, so I can only imagine playing this game on the Game Boy Advance, I mean, I bet you had to kind of maybe squint a little hard, I mean, it never had the best screen. That's what kind of pulled me away from Game Boy Advance when it came out, and
yeah,
and it's like playing this on that. I mean, I can't imagine. I'm kind of glad that I got to experience on an HD setup.
This is true, and the version that hit the States first was the DS version. And apparently that actually, took advantage of the DS's touchscreen controls, obviously. I mean, I played both of the iOS ports that have come out, one of which is significantly better than the other. So like the touchscreen controls, I kind of understand, but the DS also had mechanics like being able to use the microphone and being able to shout objection during trial segments.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish we could have had that option here, because that would have been very immersive.
Yeah, that would have been fucking amazing to experience. So, on all the versions of the game that I've played, and I've played on the original iOS port. I've played that was the trilogy version of the game, and then the later port that is basically the same one that was on other consoles. Like the PS4 one that we played, that port later got ported to iOS and replaced the other one, and this port is actually much better. This is the standard trilogy port, so you can actually play it on Xbox One, on PS4, you can play it on PC, and on iOS, Android, and you're gonna have a decent experience of a great experience actually of this game.
And also, from what I understand, the physical media copies of these games they've actually kind of gone down in price recently because of all of the different ports and whatnot. So you could actually find this on DS for about $15. It's really not that hard to find nowadays.
Yeah. And you can play that on a DS or a 3DS. So yeah, that's actually an excellent option.
Yeah.
Obviously,
you can. Obviously, you always want to play on original hardware if you can. You can also sail the open seas if you'd like. Some of the games in this franchise will require you to do that. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
Yeah. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, actually, one or two really, but that is an option to experience the greatness that is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I think what really stuck out of this game at the time, and why I think it became such a, I don't want to say like a huge success, like something like Resident Evil, but to a much surprising success. I would say, yeah, a surprising success given the number of spin-offs, sequels, adaptations. I think what that boiled down to was just this clever way of hooking you in with the courtroom segments in particular. And really, that's actually how the game starts. It starts with the tutorial case, right, where you're defending Larry.
Yeah. It pretty much throws you right in the defendant's lobby. You're about to go into the courtroom, and I mean, you pretty much get like a cursory overview of what the case is and everything, which is kind of it sets the standard for the rest of the game pretty well.
Yeah.
And yeah, you go right into a trial, and that's actually a good angle to start the game at, is just get right into the gameplay, and then introduce the investigative elements just in the next segment.
Exactly. And I will say, yeah, the courtroom segments of the game are definitely where Ace Attorney shines. The investigation segments are all right. But I think like where the series really comes to life is during the courtroom, which is funny considering that it was originally, kind of the idea stemmed from a detective game, but the courtroom aspect of it is really what took over and what spawned all of the clones.
Yeah.
That ended up, in fan games and whatnot.
Oh, the fan games. I can't wait to get to the fan games.
Seriously, yeah. Oh, no. I know what you're thinking, and no. Objection!
Well, objection? Well, I can override that objection with these updated autopsy reports. What, did Gumfuck not tell you?
Gumfuck not tell you? Salary cutting noises.
Actually, objection, dumbass. Haven't you heard? You absolute failure. Did Gumfuck not tell you? Your garbage excuse of a hypothesis, I'll shove my entire cravat up your ass because it's fucking wrong. Why? Well, you little bitch. If you could take a look at this motherfucking up.
But yeah, no, the courtroom segments are a lot of fun. I think what was really awesome was the whole aspect of like cornering the culprit of the case, right? Like at some point, one of the witnesses is the real culprit. And you're trying to basically prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. You're actually basically putting them on trial in order to acquit your client at the end. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes in every case.
Yeah, it is kind of a crap sack legal system that you have to deal with here. I mean, the burden of proof is entirely on the defense, pretty much that the defendant is innocent, and it's like, yeah. I mean, it does make for a little more of a harrowing experience with the gameplay, but damn, in real life, that would fucking suck, man.
Seriously, there's a 3-day system, and all cases have to be resolved in 3 days, and the trial always overwhelmingly favors the prosecution for some reason. Like the prosecution by default is right, even if you're at the end of a trial. And you've basically proven it. You just don't have the decisive evidence. If you lose, if you happen to get a game over at that point, the judge does rule guilty. So,
oh yeah, you could totally make the wrong decision and get a guilty verdict for your client. And I mean, we haven't really experienced that.
No, because one part of it is that like, I know what I'm doing. I've played through the game like twice now before we played it this third time together.
Yeah.
So like I know the game pretty well, and on top of that, I'm a master of saving and reloading. And this game, and most of the modern ports, gives you the ability to fucking save nearly anywhere you want to within a trial, and you can reload. And you know what? That's fine. That's part of the gameplay.
Yeah, it's totally acceptable. I mean, it's pretty much the RPG logic, you know, save, and if you haven't saved yet, save again.
Yeah, but where the meat comes is you know, it's basically like this is what solving puzzles and dungeons is to Zelda. To Ace Attorney is the cross-examination. And what that is you listen through a testimony once through, and then at the end of that testimony, you get to listen through it again and kind of scrub through the testimony, and you have to find the part of it of the witness, you know, the part of the witness's testimony, the statement that is contrary to the evidence that you have in your possession, and you have to present that evidence, and there's just something that's really exciting, you know, and determining that, right?
There really is. I mean, it's where, you know, people who have really strong reading comprehension, they're the ones who will really excel at these games, you know, because you really have to just hang on to like every word that the witnesses say. You really have to hang on to all that. You really have to listen during the investigation phases. You really have to take things to heart and commit things to memory and whatnot. I mean, it's a lot to take in, but I mean, it's so rewarding when you're actually in the courtroom and you're whittling down a witness's testimony, and then it starts going on a tangent, and then you lead to the truth.
Exactly, and I think that's the most satisfying part of it is finding the truth, pursuing it, even whenever you don't think that the current line of thinking is going to, you know, support your case with your client. You know, you have to pursue the truth no matter what it is, and you usually end up turning these trials about. I mean, that's where the Japanese title comes from, Turnabout Trial, and the title of most of the episodes has turnabout in it. But it's the idea of turning a case on, you know, upside down and just completely, you know. Locked room mysteries are not uncommon in the Ace Attorney franchise, and there's always some convoluted way, and they get more and more complicated as you move, you know, especially through the trilogy.
It really is. I mean, of course, I mean, I only have a little bit of an understanding of the other two games because, you know, we only did the first game.
Yeah.
But yeah, just you know, seeing Phoenix Wright actually grow from a rookie all the way up to an actual seasoned pro. I mean, that, from my understanding, that's like the best experience of this game.
Yes,
you know, it's the best part of the game. Is just, you know, I mean, you're kind of growing along with Phoenix a little bit.
Right, exactly, and it's a lot of fun. So, you know, the story starts, of course, with Phoenix defending his childhood friend Larry Butts. When something smells, it's usually the butts, right?
It's usually the butts. It always is, right?
Yes.
Especially in that Steel Samurai storyline. It's like, oh my God, come on, man.
Something smells, it's usually the butts. Yeah, so you're defending Larry at first. You have a lifeline, essentially, who saves the trial for you at one point, which is Mia Fey, the mentor. And apparently the tutorial case wasn't originally included in the game. Originally, it would have started with the second case, Turnabout Sisters. But they decided to include a tutorial case which kind of explained the mechanics of the game to you, and also had some of a you know, demonstration of the relationship between Mia and Phoenix.
And it really is an interesting relationship. I mean, she really has taken Phoenix under her wing and everything, and you know, she's really nurturing his abilities in court and whatnot.
Yeah,
and that's what makes her early death in the series so interesting. You know, it really like just influences just everything that comes after it. You know, I mean, especially when you get into like the DL9 case and what now?
DL6.
DL6. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, I like how, you know, the film actually covered, I think, Turnabout Sisters, which is the next case, and Turnabout Goodbyes. So you kind of understood the major, you know, plots and twists and characters of those. But, you know, really, I you know, we got the opportunity together to kind of now compare that experience, which I'd already gone through before, but obviously, but of seeing, that full those expanded cases, right, and like all of the investigations in between, and
Yeah.
and just some of the most outrageous characters that just come to life. I mean, even within like the next case, Turnabout Sisters, you have Red White.
Oh man, Red White, he's a lot more ostentatious in this version than he was in the movie, needless to say. Like, I mean, he's very flamboyant. He's got pink hair. He's pretty much like, hey, I own everything, man. It's like, you can't touch me.
Turnabout Sisters is the case where your mentor from the first case, Mia Fey, is dead. And now you have to defend her sister, Maya, who is arrested.
And charged with her murder, we might add.
Right, exactly. and so, like, right away, you kind of get the sense that Maya is just not the culprit. I think as a player, it's very obvious. Well, that, and they also show us the culprit at the beginning of the episode, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, it's really the only other case that kind of does that in the
first
game.
two do that, yeah.
The first two. Yeah.
Kind of show you the culprit so that when you see them take the witness stand, you kind of like go off and be like, oh, I've seen this guy before. Okay. Is this the culprit? It was.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. I think it's really well done. But anyway, so you're defending Maya, and I think right away we just know, like, there's no way she could have done it. She's just way too sweet.
Absolutely. I mean, she's a very naive, young, and just inexperienced kid, and I mean, she just had that dumped in her lap, her sister's death, and now she's being accused of it. It's like, I mean, yeah, you gotta help her, man. It's like, you gotta help her out.
I know, like you just immediately want to do that, and I love how the game just kind of pulls you in. Like, I was hooked in just from that first trial segment, doing defending Larry and cornering Mr. Frank Saw It.
Oh yeah, that is hilarious whenever he gets flustered and he just throws that toupee at you.
That's what it's about. Is the culprit witness always has a breakdown animation, and it's fucking amazing. But yeah, I mean, immediately, you're kind of just hooked into the story and the characters. You had some time to kind of get to know Mia, and so you do kind of feel the loss there for Phoenix. I mean, that's a lifeline that he had, and now he's on his own defending Maya and then himself.
But Mia is still very much a present character throughout most of the game as well in her own way.
Because of the spirit channeling. That's what really actually took me out for a minute. Because when I was playing the game, I was just like, okay, it's like a courtroom drama. She's like, okay, she's a spirit medium. But like, she doesn't really do that. And then she really does it. I guess the skeptic in me should.
I know. Yeah, and she pretty much takes up Mia's form in Maya's clothing.
And her tits enlarge.
Yes, her tits enlarge. They become much larger.
Mia is fucking.
She does have that maternal quality to her.
Does, but yeah, no. Mia is hot, and Maya is one of my favorite characters. I mean, she's just so adorable.
She is great, man. It's like she knows how to liven up the situation, whenever. You know? But I mean, she's also very sincere and very, heartfelt at times.
Exactly. She's genuinely one of my favorite characters, and I'm so glad they reintroduced her back in Spirit of Justice, because like I really missed her whole dynamic with Wright. Wright himself, I mean, Phoenix is I think actually kind of a really interesting character, because he's not just like one note or like faceless, he's actually, got quite a bit of character to him, right?
Lots of personality to him, I mean, and like I said, you see him grow throughout the different games, so here in this game, you really feel his naivete, but you also see it kind of, melt off as he becomes more and more confident in his court cases and everything.
And he does get more competent over time, and especially in the later games. And it's actually really awesome to see his journey from, a rookie attorney to, a name in the world of, in the legal world. But what I like about him is that he's also very sarcastic.
Oh man, his wit is top notch, especially if he has to go toe to toe with people like Edgeworth all the time. He's got to have that a little bit of that wit.
Yeah.
But also dealing with Maya as well, you know. I mean, she's still just kind of to him an annoying kid, you know. So
he always plays the straight man, but then like when you see his ass get kicked in court,
oh yeah, man, he could be a little goofy.
Yeah, I love like that mix with his character, and it makes for an interesting dynamic with Maya, and of course with Mr. Edgeworth.
Edgeworth.
Did Gumfuck not tell you? Actually, objection, dumbass.
It's because your entire fucking hypothesis is wrong.
I'll shove your entire hypothesis up. I'll shove a cravat up my ass because it's fucking wrong. Your entire hypothesis is garbage. I'll shove it in my cravat up your ass because it's fucking wrong. That's it.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Oh man, the memes that this game inspired are great. Actually,
The clown girl.
The clown girl. It's like
that was from a later game, but even this game introduced the Almost Christmas meme, and then the Ace Attorney shitposting group, Ace Attorney ladder posting, actually has around Christmas time they changed the name to Ace Attorney Almost Christmas posting.
It's almost Christmas
Every December. Yeah.
It's
almost weird. Christmas means it wasn't Christmas.
It's weird that became that particular line became a meme. That's funny.
And then of course the ladder joke, which is a gag that appears actually at least once in every game apparently.
So is it a ladder or a step ladder?
Well, I think that maybe you shouldn't think so narrow-mindedly about it or whatever the fuck Maya says.
I think it's a ladder.
Actually, it's a step ladder. Objection.
Overruled. It's a fucking ladder.
Hold it. But yeah, the dynamic between Phoenix and Edgeworth, I think is really central focus. I mean, obviously they're the internet's favorite couple, and you know what? At one point I was Phoenix and Maya from like game 2 on. Now, I don't know. I might be switching allegiances on my by my third playthrough of the game.
Phoenix and Mia all the way.
Phoenix and Mia, if she was because
she was alive.
Mia has somebody.
Oh, that's
You'll
right.
find out in Trials and Tribulations.
Oh, okay. I see.
And you know what? Yeah, never mind. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Oh, damn it.
But yeah, no. Otherwise, though, I mean, yeah, Mia. Mia x me. Okay, Phoenix can have Mr. Edgeworth.
Oh, okay.
Or I'll have Phoenix and Edgeworth together, menage a trois. I'd be cool with that.
Oh, okay.
Gotta get that prosecution dick. Gotta get that lawyer dick. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so, bro. Oh my God.
I mean, my sexuality is actually Ace Attorney prosecutors. Let's be real.
Ace Attorney prosecutors. Wow.
Yeah. Edgeworth, von Karma, Franziska von Karma, to be specific. Not the other one. No, just no.
No.
And Godot.
Godot.
Daddy.
The dude with the visor drinks the coffee.
You'll love him too. Trust me, bro. But Edgeworth. Yes. Okay. What? This is actually more of like a character journey for Edgeworth in a lot of ways, isn't it?
It really is, because I mean, he starts off all brash and cocky and everything, like he's always getting his guilty verdicts. But when he starts clashing with Phoenix Wright, it starts to kind of challenge him a little bit. Especially the nature of the cases that he gets involved in, like especially when we start getting into the DL6 case and whatnot. And the origins of that, and how that led to his current predicament in that particular episode. But I mean, Edgeworth, he at the end of the game, he is pretty much like done with all this shit. He's done with the corruption.
Yep.
He's starting to realize that maybe he was just as much of a pawn as anybody else was. In the end,
he has a really interesting character arc, especially considering that there are technically, 2 different versions of the story, because the original GBA game had the first 4 cases and it ended with turnabout goodbyes. But the DS version, the international version of the game, added Rise from the Ashes to the end, which has even more interesting implications for Edgeworth as he appears in Justice for All. which I guess you'll get to see. But I mean, he does really go through like a character journey here, because to start off with, he's prosecuting against his childhood friend, because Phoenix, Edgeworth, and Larry are all they're childhood friends. They're all childhood friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, Edgeworth is Edgeworth because nobody calls him Miles. In fact, if his father were still alive, he would say, "No. My name, call me Gregory. My son is Mr. Edgeworth."
Edgeworth.
Or Edgy. Or Edgy Poo.
Edgy Poo or Worthy.
Worthy. But he has an interesting character arc, right? Because he goes from prosecuting his childhood friend and getting defeated in it for the first time. His, as of then, undefeated record broken. Gets his ass kicked again, so that wasn't just a fluke in Turnabout Samurai. And then he sits in the defendant's chair in Turnabout Goodbyes.
Yeah, and I mean, that he's so prideful in that one. I mean, he sees Phoenix Wright, he's like, "No, what are you doing here? Like, what the fuck are you doing here, Wright? Seriously?"
Yeah, and you actually have to convince him to, in order to defend him, and Phoenix defends him, and then poor fucking Edgeworth gets caught up in another case that has unfortunate, consequences on his psyche, because Rise from the Ashes kind of deals with a lot of the corruption that went behind the scenes. Kind of, I guess, tying into Edgeworth's more sympathetic character in the later games, and kind of basically resolving that, rumor of did he forge evidence? Did he not?
Well, yeah, of course, it turns out he didn't. We'll say that, thankfully. But, I don't know.
But he's fucking done. And so they actually, originally when they released the later games, there was an inconsistency error because of the added Rise from the Ashes case, but that's since been resolved in newer Trilogy ports. But yeah, no, it actually has pretty interesting implications on his character arc overall. And yeah, like you said, I mean, seeing Phoenix grow from rookie to that takes down Manfred von fucking Karma.
Oh, Von Karma, that bastard.
Isn't he a lot more, like, I don't know, sinister than he was in the film, do you think?
He's very sinister.
Objection! The original courtroom adventure is back. Bigger and bolder than ever before. Join rookie attorney Phoenix Wright as you solve intriguing and intricate cases and protect your innocent clients from false accusations. Unreliable witnesses work relentlessly to stack the deck against you. Turn the tables around, see through their lies, and call them out. Objection! Objection! Face off against a trio of prosecutors, each of whom are cunning and fearsome in their own right. Experience a battle of wits unlike any other. Uncover the truth and save the day.
Yeah, man, Von Karma, that fucking bastard. Jesus Christ. Man, he rules everything with an iron fist. Like, I mean, he's even like just directing the judges like, "Judge, it's like, verdict, now."
Yes, this fucking bastard. He is just, Von Karma is the man that, he's the final boss of the game, basically. So you have Turnabout Sisters, where you defend Maya. She joins onto your team. She becomes your assistant through the rest of the series, through the rest of the game. You go through Turnabout Samurai, which was kind of a more like one-off case. I mean, that was one that you got to see for the first time.
Yeah, that's kind of an okay one. I mean, I've heard that there's a little bit of a meme in the fandom that, the third cases are usually kind of the shitty cases, sort of.
They're usually the weaker ones in the game. That's
the weaker
true.
ones.
That's very true. Turnabout Big Top.
Yeah, but what was...
And let's see. Third one is it Recipe for Turnabout? I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, those are typically
that is the weakest one of that game too.
Yeah, they're typically seen as weaker episodes, but I thought that it was cool because it was based in a TV and film studio, man. I mean, and it's obvious, that there were like fanboys, like old bags of fangirl of the victim and everything, or the erstwhile murderer. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the fucking Salmonella character.
Salmonella. Oh my god.
By the way, yeah, the names. So there was Frank Saw It, Red White,
April May, Penny Nichols,
the Dick Gumshoe.
Dick Gumshoe.
Why haven't we talked about Gumshoe?
Gumshoe is the
lovable.
Gumshoe is the best, man.
I mean, he's still a bastard, but he's a lovable bastard.
He's a lovable bastard, man. I mean, yeah, he really grows on you like really, really quickly, and I mean he idolizes Edgeworth so much, which is kind of adorable in its own way.
Even though he's a fuck up and he had the outdated autopsy report, right?
Oh yeah, no, he totally completely fucked it up, and that's why the salary cutting noises are getting louder and louder and louder for him.
But man, yeah, no, he just tries so hard for Edgeworth.
He does, man, and it really hurts him whenever it turns out that they fucked up. He's just like, damn it, man, I let everybody down. I let Edgeworth down.
I know the bashful head scratch.
Yeah, he's just like, damn it, man.
Sorry, pal.
Everybody is pal. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, I love Gumshoe so much. He's also one of my favorite characters in the whole series. But yeah, no, you have the Turnabout Samurai case. He's in that one. And then we finally get to Turnabout Goodbyes. Edgeworth is in the defendant's chair, and Von Karma, the final boss.
Ooh, yeah.
Back around to that. I kind of wanted to lead back into that.
Yeah, back to Von Karma. As far as final bosses are concerned, I mean, like I said, he's formidable. He has control of the court. I mean, he pretty much knows your next move and everything. I mean, he has a retort for every contradiction that you bring up. I mean, you really have to wheedle at him a little bit, kind of needle at him and just kind of, chip away at his facade.
Well, he's perfect. And he has an undefeated 40-year record as a prosecutor.
Except for one day, which... yeah,
leads to his downfall. The one imperfection in his record leads to his complete downfall, and it is basically it is implied in the later games that he was executed.
Well, I mean, good. He's a bastard. Fuck him.
A fucking bastard. But yeah, no, like he controls the courtroom, like you said earlier, and so just trying to pick away at that. And really, like, just constantly, having to struggle to get the upper hand against his perfectly composed testimonies, and just finally needing almost a little bit of luck to even, find the evidence that's really gonna be the...
Yeah, because in that case, there's some testimony that is almost like just so rock solid that, I mean, we had to kind of go over it like several times over.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to like kind of parse through everything and like really look at the evidence that you have and just make sure that the evidence that you want to present is going to, beyond a shadow of a doubt, prove what you're trying to say.
Exactly. And I think that's what's most fun about the game is just finding the logical progression to really unravel the case. And sometimes you're there and you know exactly what it is. And I think a great example of that is the final trial segment in Turnabout Goodbyes, where you're just really nailing the coffin on Von Karma, putting the pressure on for both the current case and the DL6 incident from 15 years ago. It is just fucking amazing. I think there's that kind of that sense of satisfaction when, no, I know where this is going. I mean, you and I were just getting into it. The pursuit theme is playing.
And then we finally find something in the testimony where like, oh, wait, no, they fucked up. They fucked up. It's like the Menace to Society, you know? You know, Robert just walked in. You know, it's like, hey, you see what you did there, right? You done fucked up. Exactly. I mean, you get to that moment there, you know?
Slipped up.
They slipped up. It's like, no, you fucked up.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. You bought the beer at 12:30. Exactly.
And it's just honestly on its own. I mean, I still see how it works as a fitting conclusion to that game.
It really is, you know. I mean, I know that there's some people that kind of were a little upset with it being canonized, sort of, because it kind of messes up like Edgeworth's storyline a little bit.
Oh, you're talking about Rise from the Ashes.
Rise from the Ashes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Rise from the Ashes also definitely works, but it's best to kind of just view it as like a separate standalone case than, because there is kind of a whole narrative arc working with the first 4 cases, which was what was translated into Miyake's film, right?
Yeah.
But because they fit like a cohesive narrative. But Rise from the Ashes is kind of its own thing. But I will say that Rise from the Ashes on its own is easily one of the best cases in the franchise.
And goddamn, was it fucking long, man. We finished that motherfucker up at 4:00 in the morning this last night, dude.
And we didn't do it all in one section. Like the other cases, we just kind of bulldoze through in one night, in one sitting. But
this one took a couple of nights to get through.
It is, I believe, the longest game in the or longest case, in the trilogy, if not the series.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you feel every minute of it too, but you really, really, really get drawn into it. It's a superlative case, honestly.
And Damon Gant makes for as compelling, if not more, of a final boss than Von Karma.
I almost think that Gant is probably a little more formidable. I mean,
yeah,
because he has his influence in the police department as well as the prosecutor's department.
Yeah, he is a fucking like that. He's the chief of the police. So like, what a formidable antagonist. And you basically have to fucking take him down. And what's funny is you don't even really suspect him until the final day, or the final investigation segment, I should say, is really because throughout that point he was intimidating, but he hadn't had this jovial attitude, right?
Yeah, he's so jovial. Like I actually liked him at first. I was just like, oh, he seems cool. But then it's just like, oh no, he's a massive, controlling, power-hungry dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course you get in, you're defending Lana Skye, the sister of Emma. Emma is basically like she's kind of the Maya of this case, but she becomes her own character and appears elsewhere in the series and matures in later games.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see them introduce this character, and also the parallel that they have with the Faye sisters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they all actually draw that parallel, right? Like Mia and Maya and Lana.
I almost want to say that Emma's character model is almost close to Maya's character model. She even kind of has the little ponytail on top as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe it was just kind of a little easier to redraw.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's definitely some parallels, intentional parallels there with Emma's character, but she does kind of come into her own. Another element of the case is another character that made their way into the franchise, despite this being a later inclusion as a case, the Blue Badger.
The Blue Badger, yeah. It actually, plays a interesting role in Rise from the Ashes when it was actually introduced here, right?
Yeah. This was the so the Blue Badger, I believe, is an examinable prop in the background in Turnabout Goodbyes.
Yeah.
If you go to the Criminal Affairs Department, but that's it. This is where they really kind of fully flesh that out. If I'm not mistaken, I just played this 3 times over, so that should be right. Yeah,
and that goddamn plywood fucking prop is so creepy. It's like, god damn it.
and apparently, the whole origin of the Blue Badger that actually becomes a pivotal part of the case, right?
It does, yeah. It actually kind of, it points to the so-called culprit of the evidence room murder.
Yeah, and then you basically almost prove that it was Emma that committed the murder in SL9, which is obviously parallel to DL6.
Yeah, total parallel.
And again, dealing with in both of those cases, pulling up a trial from before that was as of then unresolved, but about to get a lid on it, and bringing up and solving both that and the current case. Really fucking awesome. That's why these two cases, Turnabout Goodbyes and Rise from the Ashes, really stand out. But anyway, using that, and then basically there's that heart-sinking feeling where you realize that, like, oh, what, fuck, Emma fucking did the SL9 incident, but then you turn it around at the end and she really didn't. And that's something that's really incredible about Ace Attorney. Is sometimes, like, you'll really think that there's no other way, but the game will really turn it around, the logic around, and just like uncovering that bit by bit is just really, that's what the formula.
Oh yeah, I mean, you will have a line of reasoning where you'll be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is what this particular bit of evidence is going to prove here, but you can easily go down a different tangent. It'll change things around on you.
Yeah. It is just fucking exhilarating. I just immediately fell in love with this franchise because of this game, honestly. I guess we'll sort of kind of get into our final thoughts here, starting with you, Bo. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, what's your verdict?
Oh, the verdict is totally awesome, man. I mean, this is such an engaging and immersive point-and-click adventure game, and it really even has a little bit of a nostalgia factor, like I said, going back to the 90s when those type of games were really, really prevalent. I mean, I kind of wish that this series would have brought a lot more of that type of gameplay back, which you would think would have worked on the DS and everything. But I like the characters, man. I mean, the characters were always interesting, even in the weaker cases.
Yeah.
I mean, they still had, interesting people, like I mean, in the Steel Samurai case, I mean, you had you had Old Bag, you had Penny Nichols, you had Salmonella. I mean, it was really, really fun to get to know those characters, and kind of, see how they work on the stand, when you're actually cross-examining them and everything. Like the best one was Windbag. Like taking on Windbag was fucking
you mean
amazing. Old Bag. Yeah. No, Windbag is just about I'd say that's about as accurate as well. She's an old windbag.
Windy old bag.
She's a windy old bag, yeah.
I mean, old bitch.
Windy old bitch. No, that was satisfying taking her on, because it was just like, oh, you bitch, you need to be taken down a few pegs here.
You know who was fun to take on? Jake Marshall.
Oh, he was really fun, because he's just he was Matthew McConaughey. He is 100% based off of Matthew McConaughey as a cowboy.
I could see McConaughey.
Dude, I mean, seriously, just look at his chiseled jaw and everything. It's like, and just if you just listen to his lines in McConaughey's drawl, it makes perfect sense.
Oh, fucking A.
It is absolutely Matthew McConaughey. But yeah, I really enjoyed getting into this series, and I'm looking forward to playing through the rest of it, through the other two games and the games beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think actually at this point we're on a trajectory where we're basically going to cover that in the Collateral Gaming itinerary overall. I mean, we are going to cover every Ace Attorney game in some form or fashion, I think, by the time this is over.
Well,
because
I am down and I am here for it.
Hell
so,
yes.
So yeah,
and
let's do it.
That includes nothing else. No fan games. We are not going to cover.
No, we've got to talk about the fan games. We've got to talk about them. We got to talk about the furry fan game.
Objection!
There was a furry fan game, ladies and gentlemen, and it is amazing. It is the most awesome thing that has ever been made, and I 100% endorse it. I'm not a furry myself, but hey, furries trigger people, and that makes me happy. So
objection!
So yeah, play the furry game.
That was objectionable.
Play the furry game, and also the My Little Pony game. There's a brony version of this.
Hold it!
There is a brony version of this game, and it is amazing. I love it. I love that those communities made games based on this. That's so fucking hilarious.
Maybe we will have to check out
The furry game. The furry game. We have to do the furry game. We have to do the furry game. Yes, we have to do the furry game. I want to do the furry game. I want to do the furry game. That would
Objection.
be hilarious.
Anyway,
See everybody. He needs to play the furry game. He's getting all flustered.
So, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney is definitely very high up among the other games of the franchise for me. I'm going to put that out. I mean, I think the Ace Attorney trilogy is honestly like peak Ace Attorney right there. Is the original Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy. That's why we're covering it in two parts. And it starts with Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. It is phenomenal. Like, even as a standalone game, I highly suggest that if you're interested in the franchise, start with this game, even though we spoiled most of it for you.
Absolutely. Start right from the beginning. Like, just get right into that tutorial case and just go with it.
It is easily the best like launching point, and that really says a lot. It has some of the best cases in the franchise, and it is just iconic, setting up all of these characters. And it originally was, Shu Takumi actually had envisioned it as originally like a standalone project. He had basically poured everything into it and didn't think that there was anything else he could come up with.
It makes sense if you really see the ending of the game. It seems like it really ties up a lot of the loose ends by the end.
It does, but he manages to pull it off not once, but twice more, and then spawn an entire franchise after that. And it is, at least the trilogy manages to like just continue that level of quality, if not even higher. I mean, Trials and Tribulations is actually my favorite game in the franchise, so stick around for part 2 where we're going to get into Justice for All and Trials and Tribulations.
Oh, by the way, the director, the dude that created Ace Attorney, he worked on Resident Evil 1.5. Which is something that we really need to talk about.
Yeah, Shu Takumi, we actually didn't even talk about that, but he worked on not only Resident Evil 1.5, but
Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis 2, right?
Dino Crisis 2, exactly. That's kind of what allowed him to make the pitch for Ace Attorney was his success working on Dino Crisis 2.
I know. That is just that's insane to me, and I love that, he just kind of had this detective idea, on the back burner and finally fleshed it out into what we got. And it's a fantastic video game of its own right, and really the best way to enter the franchise. It made me fall in love with the series, and that says a lot, because this is easily in my, top 5 or top 10 video games of all time.
Absolutely. I mean, I have a feeling this is going to become a favorite of mine as we go along here,
I mean, the series as a whole, I guess, in my top 5, top 10 list. But yes, starting with this one, it is absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to get into the other 2 games. Bo, what is going on with Collateral Cinema?
We just released our review of Spaceballs not too long ago.
Spaceballs the movie.
Spaceballs the movie.
The podcast episode.
The podcast episode, absolutely. We should have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming up with Hindsight movie reviews, and our season finale, Corvette Summer, with the Spy Hearts podcast. Hopefully our buddy Robert will be there for both of those. Right, Robert?
I'll be there.
Definitely. Hell yeah, man. And look for some more Director's Cut content coming very soon. We should probably also be having some other collaborations in the works, maybe one with Retro Anime Podcast coming up soon. So, yeah, look for that.
Hell yeah. As for Collateral Gaming, we are going to be, like I mentioned earlier, examining the rest of the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy with Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Justice for All, and Trials and Tribulations. This month, we will also be covering Resident Evil 4 Remake with Mr. Dan Rockwood from Victims and Villains. And I'm actually really excited. Like we mentioned earlier, the glowing reviews of the game have definitely gotten me hyped. Additionally, we may have another bonus round out this month, either something like game recommendations or maybe even covering the Last of Us series because season 1 is over now. And that's a little bit of gaming news we didn't really cover, but the season finale just released. And man, The Last of Us is just a fantastic adaptation of the source material. And maybe we ought to talk about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we should. I mean, I remember when y'all did the Last of Us on Collateral Gaming back in the day.
And part 2.
And part 2 as well. So, yeah, it would definitely be worth it to check that out.
Yeah. So, and if you like what you hear and you want to support us, go check us out on Patreon. Both Collateral Cinema and Collateral Gaming have $1 and $5 tiers. And pay any amount of money, and you will get access to exclusive Let's Play video game commentaries from Collateral Gaming and exclusive full-length movie commentaries from Collateral Cinema.
And once we start to get at least 10 or more patrons, or maybe we should lower the bar a little bit, maybe 5 to 10 patrons or somewhat. Once we have 5 to 10 regularly contributing patrons, we're going to start releasing our episodes early, like a few days earlier than before we release officially.
Yeah.
And also, when we start getting merchandise, we'll go ahead and start giving some of that away as well, like maybe like a sticker or a coffee mug or something for like the $5 tier or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, look for that. And also, we may also do Q&As and also Patreon polls. You can determine what movies we do for our commentaries and whatnot. So just start giving us money, people, and we'll start adding some more perks to the Patreon and whatnot. So, yeah, $1 and $5 tiers.
You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at C Gaming Podcast, at C Cinema Podcast. Check us out on Good Pods, Podchaser, and stay tuned for more content. Season 5 of Collateral Gaming and Season 6 of Collateral Cinema are coming to a close soon. I believe with Collateral Gaming, let's see, next month in April, we are going to be doing our Bad Game Month. So we'll have Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and E.T. the Extraterrestrial, as well as our 420 special on Conker's Bad Fur Day.
That's going to be great, man.
And then our season finale on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Part 1 will be spoiler-free. Part 2 will go into full spoiler territory. So whether that's the end of May or maybe even into June, that's where we're ending.
Excellent. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then we should actually have a bonus episode out on It Takes Two, because that was something we cut out of our schedule this season. So I think we'll do that as like an inter-season bonus episode.
And we need to do the arcade racing episode very soon.
Probably next season. That's what we should do.
Definitely.
Either a beat 'em ups or a racing next time. Well, actually, next season for our anniversary, we are revisiting the Fable franchise. So excellent. Yeah. Just a little sneak peek of what we've got planned. But yeah, I'm really excited to get into the next 2 Ace Attorney games. So we'll see you guys then. So until then, I've been Ashley Chancellor from the defense.
And I have been Bo Maddox for the prosecution.
And this has been the trial of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney.
And
objection! Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.